Backstage at Carnegie Hall feels different this time. Smaller, colder. The muffled sounds of the orchestra tuning seep through the heavy door, a familiar symphony of anticipation. But I'm not focused on the music. My eyes are fixed on the scene unfolding under the harsh fluorescent lights of the dressing room corridor. Mother, her face set in lines of strained justification, is handing my violin, the Stradivarius, my soul bonded to wood and varnish, to a man whose cheap suit screams pawnbroker. He handles it with greasy reverence, his eyes gleaming not with appreciation, but avarice. Behind Mother, my younger sister, Elise, smirks. That same small, triumphant twist of her lips I remember so vividly. It's happening again. The exact same betrayal, the same hushed tones, the same exchange of my future for quick cash. Last time I'd screamed, pleaded, thrown myself between them and the instrument. A desperate, futile act that only solidified their resolve and my image as unstable. This time, I lean against the cool plaster wall, arms crossed, a silent observer. They haven't noticed me yet. They're too absorbed in their transaction, their shared conspiracy. The pawnbroker hands Mother a thick envelope, a fraction of its worth. Enough for Elise's latest whim, no doubt. Not enough to salve the wound they're carving into my life. But this time, the wound isn't fatal. This time, I know the melody of their downfall, and I'm ready to conduct. A flash, the scratchy feel of cheap hospital sheets against my skin. The rhythmic beep of a machine struggling to keep pace with my failing heart. 27, too young. Fever burns behind my eyes, my breath rattles. My violin case sits empty in the corner, already plundered. Through the thin wall, I hear them, not weeping, celebrating. Mother's sharp laugh, Elise's excited chatter, Father's passive agreement. The insurance payout will be substantial, Mother says, her voice clear despite the buzzing in my ears on. Finally, Elise can go to that summer intensive in Paris. My death, not a tragedy, but a funding opportunity. My last breath wasn't a sigh of release, but a choked gasp of betrayal. I push off the wall, my heels clicking softly on the worn linoleum as I approach them. Mother jumps, stuffing the envelope guiltily into her purse. Elise's smirk falters slightly. The pawnbroker eyes me warily. Anya, you startled me, Mother fumbles, smoothing her dress. We were just finalizing some arrangements. The pawnbroker slides a release form and a pen towards me on a nearby amplifier case. Just need your signature, miss. Verifying the voluntary sale. I pick up the pen. My hand is perfectly steady. I meet Mother's anxious gaze, then Elise's guarded one. I sign the form with a clear, deliberate flourish. Then, I offer them both a small, serene smile. Mother's eyebrows knit together. This isn't the reaction she expected, the one she braced for. No tears, no accusations, no desperate fight. Anya, aren't you upset? Her voice holds a note of confusion, maybe even fear. Why deviate from the script? I cap the pen, handing it back to the pawnbroker. Upset? I echo lightly, still smiling. Not anymore. Her confusion deepens. Elise shifts uncomfortably. They sense something is wrong. Something has shifted in the predictable dynamic of our toxic little family play. They just don't know what. They don't know that their betrayal isn't the end of my story this time, but the beginning of theirs. Inside my head, it's chaos calmed into cold clarity. Waking up 18 again, gasping for air in my childhood bed, the phantom pain of illness still clinging to my bones. It wasn't a dream, it was a second chance. Same life, same family unit designed for my destruction, same path laid out towards early failure and a convenient death. But this time, I have the roadmap. I know the betrayals before they happen, the manipulations before they're spoken, the ultimate outcome they plotted. Selling the Stradivarius was just the overture. Their plan relies on my predictable heartbreak, my artistic despair. They have no idea that the girl standing before them isn't the fragile musician they broke before. She's a survivor, armed with foreknowledge and a meticulously crafted plan for justice. A plan that starts with letting them win this first painful battle. Let them think they've silenced my music. They have no idea the symphony of revenge I'm about to compose. The tension at the family dinner table is thick enough to carve. Mother beams, radiating false maternal pride as she makes her grand announcement. The centerpiece flowers seem to wilt in her presence. "Good news, everyone," she chirps, clapping her hands together. "Thanks to the sale of Anya's old violin, which was just gathering dust, really, we finally have the funds for Elise to attend that prestigious summer dance program in Vienna." Elise preens, shooting me a triumphant glance from under her lashes. Father grunts noncommittally, eyes glued to the glowing screen of his phone, utterly detached. As always, the promise made just last month that the violin money would cover my overdue conservatory tuition evaporates like smoke. It was never real, just another manipulation. "Isn't that wonderful, Anya?" Mother prompts, her eyes daring me to object. "Supporting your sister's dreams?" "Wonderful," I echo, my voice flat. I focus on cutting my overcooked chicken, supporting her dreams on the grave of mine. Just then, my phone vibrates silently in my lap under the table. A text message from an unknown number. "They underestimate you. Don't let them win again. An admirer." My breath catches. Who? I quickly pocket the phone, my mind racing. An admirer? Or something else? The mystery adds another layer to the already complex game I'm playing. Flashback, me, age 17, backstage at the All-State competition. My violin feels like an extension of my soul. This audition is everything. Scholarships, conservatory acceptance, escape. Mother fusses with my collar, her smile tight. "Just do your best, dear, but remember, Elise has her dance recital next week. We mustn't overshadow her." A subtle undermining, planting seeds of guilt. Later, just before I go on, she hands me a flask of calming tea. It smells vaguely wrong. On stage, my fingers feel numb, my vision blurs. I stumble through the piece, a humiliating disaster. Afterwards, I overhear Mother talking to the judges, sighing about my terrible nerves, my fragile temperament. She hadn't just failed to support me. She'd actively sabotaged me. My talent wasn't a source of pride for her. It was a threat to Elise, the golden child, and a tool for her own social climbing, easily discarded when inconvenient. The coffee shop buzzes with lunchtime chatter. Across the small table sits James, my childhood best friend, my first crush, the first boy who broke my heart, not just romantically, but through a stinging betrayal tied to music and ambition in my past life. He looks older, more polished now, but the earnest charm in his eyes is the same. He reached out, wanting to reconnect, suggesting we collaborate on a piece for the upcoming community concert. "Anya, it's so great to see you," he says, flashing that familiar, disarming smile. "I heard about the violin. I'm really sorry." His sympathy feels practiced. The smell of roasted coffee beans and burnt sugar suddenly triggers a sharp memory. James, showing our joint composition, mostly my work to Miss Chen in our previous life, subtly implying it was all his, accepting her praise while I stood by, voiceless and betrayed. He leans forward now, his eyes alight with false sincerity. "Look, I know things got weird between us before, but I've been working on this piece and it just feels incomplete. It needs your touch, your musicality. What do you say? For old time's sake, collaborate?" His ambition hasn't changed. He still sees me as a stepping stone. But this time, I know the game. "James, I'd love to," I say, injecting warmth into my voice, mirroring his practiced enthusiasm. "It sounds like fun." Let him think I'm the same naive girl. His underestimation is my advantage. Miss Chen's studio still smells the same. Lemon polish, old paper, and a faint, sharp undercurrent of fear. She sits behind her grand piano, posture ramrod straight, fingers steepled. My former music teacher. The woman whose relentless psychological pressure and impossibly high standards pushed me to a nervous breakdown just before my conservatory auditions in my last life. "Anya," she says, her voice crisp, unchanging. "Your mother tells me you are between instruments. A pity. But perhaps adversity can forge discipline." Her eyes, small and dark, gleam with the same predatory light I remember. She sees vulnerability, an opportunity to exert control again. I am willing to offer you private lessons once more. Polish your technique while you regroup. The offer is laced with condescension. She thinks I'm adrift. Broken. Perfect. Thank you, Miss Chen, I reply, dipping my head in a show of docile gratitude. I would appreciate that very much. She nods, satisfied. We begin Monday. Be prepared. As I leave the oppressive silence of her studio, stepping back into the noisy street, I pull out my phone. I dial a number from memory, the contact who sent the mysterious text. It rings twice before a low, cultured voice answers. Yamamoto. Mr. Yamamoto, I say quietly, shielding the phone from the wind. It's Anya Lin. Miss Chen just took the bait. Phase 1 is complete. It's past midnight. The house is silent, wrapped in that specific quiet that only deep night brings. I'm supposed to be asleep, shattered by the loss of my violin, according to their script. Instead, I'm standing motionless in the darkest corner of the upstairs hallway, watching my bedroom door creak open. A sliver of light spills out, illuminating Mother and Elise as they slip inside my room like thieves. They move with practiced stealth, whispering frantically. Did you check under the mattress? Mother hisses. Anything in the notebooks? Elise shakes her head, holding up my journals. Nothing. They're all blank since last month. It's weird, Mom. She's acting too calm. I know, Mother frets, rifling through my desk drawers. It's not right. She should be devastated, hysterical. This calm, it scares me. They are searching for my pain, for the emotional leverage they rely on. They expect tears, diary entries filled with angst, validation that their actions have had the desired effect. Finding nothing but blank pages and quiet acceptance unnerves them more than any outburst could. I watch them, my heart beating a steady, cold rhythm against my ribs. Let them search. The real Anya, the one with the memories and the plan, doesn't live in those journals anymore. She lives in the shadows, watching, waiting. The showcase for Elise's dance program is exactly as nauseating as I remember it would be. Held in a stuffy, rented ballroom filled with local patrons of the arts, mostly wealthy individuals Mother wants to impress or extract donations from. Mother flits from group to group, dragging me along like a prop. This is my other daughter, Anya, she introduces me with a strained smile, emphasizing the other. She's being so supportive of Elise's passion. Isn't that lovely? The implication hangs heavy. Anya, the failed musician, living vicariously through her talented sister. Several acquaintances offer me pitying looks. The humiliation burns like acid in my throat, but I maintain the placid smile I've perfected. Supportive. Right. Inside my clutch, my fingers brush against the cool metal of the miniature digital recorder. Its weight is a small, hard comfort against the tide of their hypocrisy. Let Mother parade me around. Let her spin her narrative. The real story is being recorded. Back in the sanctuary of my room, the door locked, the house finally quiet. I plug the recorder into my laptop, the tiny device holding hours of damning audio. Clicking through the files, I find the golden moments. Mother, cornered by the bar, complaining to another socialite about how draining Elise's artistic temperament is, how this Vienna program is costing a fortune, how some sponsors are all talk and no checkbook. Elise whining to a friend about how bored she is with practice, how she'd rather be shopping, how she only does this because Mom pushes her. My fingers tremble slightly as I meticulously edit the clips using audio software, isolating the most callous, unflattering remarks. Removing background noise, boosting their voices. It's painstaking work. Each clipped phrase, each disdainful sigh, is a ghost from the past life-given voice. A mix of old hurt and cold anticipation churns inside me. This isn't just about exposing their hypocrisy. It's about reclaiming the narrative they stole from me. The final edited file is short, brutal, and undeniable. Elise's main fundraising event. A bigger venue, more people, higher stakes. She performs a mediocre contemporary piece, hitting her marks but lacking any real passion. Mother watches from the wings, beaming, already counting the donation checks. During the intermission, while mingling and accepting empty compliments on Elise's behalf, I discreetly pull out my phone. Accessing a temporary, untraceable email address I set up, I attach the edited audio file. The recipient list? Mother's entire contact database, painstakingly compiled from her phone contacts, email lists, and social club directories I'd subtly gained access to over the past weeks. I hit send. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, a phone buzzes near the front. Then another and another. A ripple effect spreads through the auditorium. Faces illuminated by phone screens register confusion, then shock, then outrage. Whispers start, growing louder. Gasps echo in the sudden, heavy silence. Elise falters mid-bow. Mother, sensing the shift, scans the room, her smile freezing. Her frantic eyes lock onto mine across the crowded floor. I meet her gaze calmly, raising my eyebrows in mock confusion, a silent question. What's wrong? Just as the chaos peaks, a figure detaches from the stunned crowd and approaches me purposefully. It's Mr. Henderson, a prominent arts benefactor Mother has been courting relentlessly. He looks grim. "Miss Lynn," he says, his voice low but sharp, "I think you and I need to have a conversation. Now." An unexpected ally or another complication? The fallout is immediate and devastating. Mr. Henderson, appalled by the recording, not only withdraws his substantial pledge but quietly informs several other major donors. Elise's Vienna dream evaporates overnight. Mother's carefully curated social standing crumbles. Old friends suddenly cross the street to avoid her. Invitations dry up. She corners me in the kitchen a few days later, her face a mask of fury stretched over raw panic. "What did you do, Anya?" she demands, her voice shaking, halfway between a shriek and a sob. "This is your fault. You leaked that recording. You ruined everything." I continue buttering my toast, keeping my hand steady. "Recording? Mother, what are you talking about?" I look up, widening my eyes in feigned innocence and concern. "Is everything all right? You seem terribly upset. Did something happen with Elise's fundraising?" My calm denial, my picture-perfect portrayal of the concerned, clueless daughter, seems to enrage her more than any confession would have. She stares at me, searching my face for a flicker of guilt, a hint of triumph, finding nothing but placid confusion. She opens her mouth, closes it again, sputtering, unable to reconcile the evidence of sabotage with the innocent daughter standing before her. She lets out a frustrated scream and storms out, leaving me alone in the quiet kitchen with my toast and my victory. James witnessed the whole scene at the fundraiser, the buzzing phones, the whispers, Mother's frantic exit. He'd tried to talk to me afterwards, but I'd brushed him off, citing the family emergency. Now, I feel his eyes on me more often. During our collaboration sessions for the community concert, his gaze lingers, tinged with a new curiosity, a wariness that wasn't there before. He saw the public fallout from the recording. He knows Mother blames me, even if she can't prove anything. He's starting to wonder if the quiet, pliable Anya he thought he knew has hidden depths. I sit at the borrowed piano in the community hall, playing a simple, melancholic melody, something deliberately naive. I let my fingers stumble slightly over a chord when I sense him watching from the doorway. I look up, offering a small, shy smile, pretending not to notice his scrutiny. Let him watch. Let him wonder. Let him see the fragility he expects. It makes the contrast, when my true strength is revealed, all the more effective. His suspicion is a dissonant note, but one I can incorporate into my composition. James's small home studio is bathed in the harsh, flickering glow of neon signs from the street outside. It casts strange shadows on his face, making his enthusiastic expression seem almost predatory. He's playing back the latest section of our composition for the upcoming National Youth Music Competition, a competition with significant prize money and industry attention. "Isn't it coming together, Anya?" he enthuses, leaning back in his chair. "This bridge section you suggested, it really lifts the whole piece." My bridge section, just like the main theme and the harmonic structure he's gradually claimed as his own over the past few weeks. He borrows an idea, tweaks it slightly, then presents it back as his innovation. It's the exact same pattern of intellectual theft he used in our previous life, the one that won him a scholarship while I was left with nothing but heartbreak and Miss Chen's scorn. The flickering neon reflects in his eyes, masking the calculation behind the artistic fervor. "It sounds amazing, James," I say, forcing gratitude into my voice. "You're really pulling it all together." Let him believe I'm flattered to be his muse, his helper. Let him think he's in control. He has no idea he's just composing his own downfall, note by painstaking note. Miss Chen's studio feels even more oppressive than before. The metronome on the grand piano ticks with relentless precision, each click a tiny hammer blow against my nerves. She circles me like a shark as I play scales on a borrowed practice violin, her critiques sharper, more personal than ever. "Sloppy, Anya, no passion. Do you even want to be here?" Tap, tap, tap goes the metronome. "Your intonation is pathetic. Did losing that fancy instrument cause you to lose your ear entirely?" Tap, tap, tap. "Perhaps your mother was right. Perhaps you simply don't have the discipline, the soul of a true musician." Her words are designed to sting, to undermine, to break me down as she did before. In my past life, I would have crumbled, dissolved into tears, internalized her venom. This time, I absorb the blows, letting them fuel the cold fire inside me. I deliberately keep my playing technically proficient but emotionally flat. I make small, calculated errors she can seize upon. I let her think she's winning, that her psychological warfare is effective, that I am still the fragile student she can mold and break at will. Her confidence in her power over me needs to be absolute for my next move to work. The sharp, rhythmic tap of the metronome becomes the steady beat of my quiet resistance. Another late-night session in James's studio. He's humming his main theme, scribbling notes onto the score. I sit on the worn sofa, pretending to review chord progressions, but my hand is subtly adjusting the tiny recording device hidden in the front pocket of my oversized sweater. It's been my constant companion during these sessions, capturing every suggestion I make, every melody I hum that he later incorporates, every time he says my idea for the coda, or how I envision the climax. The cool metal pressed against my ribs is a grounding presence, a silent witness. It records his casual plagiarism, his assumption of ownership, his easy dismissal of my contributions. Each recorded snippet is another piece of evidence, another thread in the net I'm weaving around him. He thinks we're creating music together. He doesn't realize he's just providing the soundtrack to his own public exposure. The deadline for the National Youth Music Competition is midnight. James sent over the final collaboration file earlier, full of self-congratulatory notes. I sit at my laptop, the city lights faint outside my window. My heart pounds, not with fear, but with grim determination. Delete. I drag his file into the trash. Then I open mine. The solo violin piece I've been secretly composing for months, incorporating some of the melodic fragments James thought he stole, but weaving them into something entirely new, complex, and undeniably mine. I attach the audio file, the full score, and a separate, password-protected folder. Inside that folder, time-stamped composition notes, early drafts saved weeks before James even proposed collaborating, and crucially, excerpts from the recordings of our sessions, clearly showing the genesis of key themes originating from me. Evidence, irrefutable. I draft the submission email, typing my name as the sole composer. My finger hovers over the send button. This is it, the point of no return. Taking credit for my own work feels less like revenge and more like reclaiming a stolen part of myself. I click send. The email disappears into the digital ether. The weight of the decision settles heavily in the pre-dawn silence. I watch the first pale light creep through the blinds, feeling utterly exhausted but strangely clean. Just as I'm about to finally sleep, my email pings. An automated confirmation of receipt from the competition? No. The subject line reads, "Urgent matter regarding your submission, NYMC committee." My blood runs cold. What now? The email wasn't a rejection, but a request for clarification, citing the unusual circumstances of my documented evidence folder. I'd provided a brief explanation, and they'd accepted the solo submission under my name. Now, weeks later, the finalists are being announced in the hushed, expectant atmosphere backstage after the semifinal performance round. And the third finalist performing her original composition Phoenix Suite, Anya Lin. My name echoes through the speakers. A wave of dizziness washes over me, quickly followed by elation. I did it. Then chaos. James pushes through the crowd of musicians, his face contorted with disbelief and fury. He grabs my arm, spinning me around. Anya, what the hell is this? Where's our piece? How is your name up there? His voice is a harsh whisper, drawing stares. The cloying scent of his expensive cologne, once attractive, now makes me nauseous. It wasn't our piece, James, I say calmly, pulling my arm free. It was mine. You know it was. You bitch, he hisses, his charm vanishing completely. You stole it. I'll tell everyone. I'll ruin you. He alternates between threats and desperate pleading. Anya, please, we can fix this. Tell them it was a mistake. We can share credit. No need, I interrupt coolly. Just then, two competition officials approach, alerted by the commotion. Gentlemen, I say, turning to them. Mr. Roberts seems to have some confusion regarding the authorship of my composition. I hold up my phone, displaying the cloud link to the evidence folder, the recordings, the dated drafts. Perhaps this will clarify things for him. James stares at the phone screen, the color draining from his face as the implications sink in. He's trapped, exposed, his ambition turning to ash right before my eyes, witnessed by the very people whose approval he craved. Winning my category at the NYMC finals feels surreal, dreamlike. The applause, the weight of the medal, the flashes of cameras, it's everything I was denied in my past life. But amidst the congratulations and industry buzz, something unexpected arrives. A thick, cream-colored envelope delivered by special messenger to my temporary hotel room. No return address, just my name, handwritten in elegant, slightly old-fashioned script. Inside, a single sheet of heavy paper. An invitation to meet Mr. Kenji Yamamoto, a legendary, almost mythical figure in the violin world, a master craftsman, a revered teacher, now a recluse who hasn't taken a student in decades. I never met him, barely heard more than whispers about him in my previous life. Why would he invite me? My hands tremble slightly as I read the brief, formal invitation for tea at his private residence. Then, the final paragraph. I believe we have much to discuss regarding your mother, Eleanor Vance, and the legacy of my late protege, your father, Ren Ito. My father? My breath catches. My father died before I was born, a struggling musician whose name mother rarely mentioned, and never with fondness. Ren Ito? I've never heard that name. Mother's maiden name was Vance, but she always insisted her family had no musical connections. An impossible connection. A lie tearing apart the foundations of my life again. Mr. Yamamoto's apartment is less a home and more a shrine to stringed instruments. Violins, violas, cellos, masterpieces by Stradivari, Guarneri, Amati line the walls in climate-controlled cases, gleaming under soft lighting. The air smells rich with aged wood, rosin, and lemon oil. It's hushed, reverent. Mr. Yamamoto himself is smaller, older than I pictured, with kind eyes that hold decades of wisdom and sorrow. He serves me fragrant green tea in delicate porcelain cups. Anya-san, he begins, his voice gentle. I knew your mother many years ago, Eleanor Vance. She was my student, briefly. He sighs. Talented, technically proficient, but lacking soul and filled with a competitive bitterness. He looks at me intently, especially towards another student. My star pupil, a young man named Ren Ito. He pauses, letting the name hang in the air. Your mother never forgave him for overshadowing her. When she became pregnant with his child after a brief affair, and he died tragically in an accident shortly after, she saw an opportunity. She erased him, took her mother's name, Lynn, fabricated a story of a non-musical father, and raised you, his daughter, controlling the narrative. My teacup rattles in its saucer. Mother, his student? Ren Ito, my father? She knew I recognized Ren's prodigious talent in you when you were just a child, playing in a school recital. Mr. Yamamoto continues softly. She actively blocked my attempts to mentor you, fearing I would uncover the truth, fearing you would connect with his legacy instead of serving her ambitions. He gestures towards a magnificent violin resting on a stand, its varnish glowing like dark honey. Ren played this Guarneri del Gesù. Would you, would you like to hold it? Numbly, I accept the Guarneri. It feels impossibly light, resonant, alive in my hands. As I draw the bow across the strings, a tone emerges so rich, so profound, it vibrates deep within my bones. It feels like coming home. I have followed your career, Anya-san, Mr. Yamamoto says, watching me with quiet intensity, both before and now. Through contacts, recordings, I saw your struggle, your mother's manipulations, the echoes of her resentment towards Ren playing out again through you. He explains more, how my father, Ren Ito, wasn't just a struggling musician, but a brilliant composer on the cusp of international recognition before his untimely death. How he came from a family with deep musical roots and a quiet fortune. How mother systematically lied, isolating me, ensuring I never knew about my paternal grandparents, who died shortly after my father, or the legacy that was rightfully mine. She wanted you to be her creation, he says sadly. Talented enough to bring her status, but controlled enough not to eclipse her or Elise. Your father's legacy. That was a threat to her control. The setting sun streams through the tall windows, casting long, dramatic shadows across the room, full of silent, waiting instruments. My entire life, my understanding of who I am, fragments and reshapes itself in the space of an afternoon. I am not just Anya Lin, the discarded daughter. I am Anya Ito, daughter of a genius, heir to a hidden musical dynasty. Mr. Yamamoto leads me to a heavy wooden chest. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed letters and photographs, are stacks of bound musical scores. Compositions by Ren Ito, my father. Preludes, sonatas, concertos, a lifetime of music I never knew existed. Tucked within the pages are marginalia, notes, fragments of thoughts, sketches. His handwriting, bold and passionate. It feels like discovering a hidden part of my own DNA. Ren established a trust fund before you were born, Mr. Yamamoto explains, handing me a thick legal document. Managed by his family's estate lawyers, with myself named as artistic advisor. It was intended for you, his heir. Your mother managed to block access, claiming you had no interest in pursuing music seriously after difficulties. He gestures vaguely, likely referring to the breakdown she engineered. The trust reverts to your full control at age 21, or upon demonstration of significant independent dedication to a professional music career, such as winning the NYMC. My inheritance. Not just money, but a legacy, a connection. I lift a score, a haunting violin sonata. Tucked inside is a simpler sheet, a lullaby, with a child's drawing of a star crudely sketched in the corner. A melody surfaces from the deepest recesses of my memory. A tune mother sometimes hummed, claiming it was an old folk song. It wasn't. It was this. My father's music, a thread connecting me to him across time and lies. The weight of the scores in my arms is immense, the weight of a stolen past, a reclaimed future. The knowledge changes everything. It's not just about winning the NYMC finals anymore. It's about honoring my father's legacy, claiming my birthright. I practice on the Guarneri in the rooms Mr. Yamamoto arranges for me, the music flowing with a power and passion I've never felt before. It's like a locked part of me has been opened. News travels fast in the music world. Whispers about Anya Lin, the surprise finalist now revealed as Anya Ito, playing on a legendary Guarneri under the mentorship of the great Yamamoto. Miss Chen appears at my practice room door one afternoon, her face an unsettling mix of avarice and forced deference. Anya, my dear, she gushes, her tone syrupy sweet. Such wonderful news. Your talent, finally recognized. I always knew you had it in you. Now that you are preparing for the finals, you need proper guidance. My guidance. She clearly sees association with me, with Yamamoto, as her ticket back to prominence. The desperation gleams in her eyes. It's almost satisfying to watch. Thank you for the offer, Miss Chen, I reply, my voice perfectly duplicating the cold, polite dismissal she used on me countless times. But my artistic path is set. Your services will not be required. I close the practice room door gently but firmly in her shocked, sputtering face. The news about Ren Ito, the inheritance, Mr. Yamamoto, my upcoming performance on the Guarneri ripples through the community, eventually reaching Mother. She appears at my temporary apartment door a few days before the NYMC finals, unannounced. She looks diminished. The expensive clothes hang slightly loose. The makeup can't quite conceal the panic in her eyes. Her signature perfume, once deployed as armor, now smells cloying, desperate in the small space. Anya, she begins, her voice trembling slightly, attempting a maternal warmth that rings utterly false. We need to talk. There are things you don't understand. I step aside, allowing her entry but not inviting her to sit. I wait. This man, Yamamoto, he's twisting things, she rushes on, twisting her gloves in her hands. Your father, Ren, it was complicated. He wasn't stable. His family was difficult. I did what I did to protect you, Anya, from the pain, from the pressure of his name, from their expectations. Selling the violin, pushing Elise. It was all to give you a simpler life, away from that world. Her lies are so practiced, so ingrained, she almost sounds convincing. Almost. She paints herself as the protective mother shielding her child, rather than the jealous saboteur caging her rival's offspring. Protect me? I echo softly. I walk over to my laptop, open a file, and press play. Her own voice fills the room. Clipped, cold, from the recording I made months ago, complaining about the cost of Elise's ambitions, dismissing my talent. Just gathering dust, really. Mustn't overshadow Elise. Her fragile temperament. The sound cuts off. Mother stares at the laptop, then at me, her face paling. That recording was just frustration talking, Mother stammers, recovering slightly. Taken out of context. Was it? I counter, my voice dangerously quiet. I open another folder, evidence, compiled over the past year, augmented by details I remember from the life before. Emails she sent to conservatory admissions boards subtly questioning my stability. Records of withdrawn applications she forgot to tell me about. Testimony from a luthier about the accidental damage to my violin bow just before a major audition in my past life. Damage Mother paid him handsomely to inflict and keep quiet about. Details I shouldn't know. Details that prove a pattern stretching across time. You didn't protect me, Mother, I say, laying out printouts on the coffee table between us, each one a nail in the coffin of her lies. You systematically sabotaged me. You resented my talent because it mirrored my father's, the man who overshadowed you. You resented me because I was his daughter. You didn't want to protect me from his legacy. You wanted to erase it, and me along with it eventually. I mentioned the insurance money conversation I overheard on my deathbed. The color completely drains from her face. She knows I shouldn't remember that. She knows this goes beyond simple resentment. It's something darker, colder. She finally sees the full depth of my knowledge, the impossibility of her escaping the truth. She collapses onto the sofa, the fight draining out of her. Sobs rack her body, ugly, gasping sounds of genuine despair. Not sorrow for me, but for herself, for her exposure, for the loss of control. Yes, she chokes out between sobs. Yes, all right. I was jealous of him, of you. You had everything I wanted, the talent, his name, Yamamoto's attention. I couldn't stand it. I wanted Elise to have her chance. I wanted my chance through her. She confesses everything, the lies, the sabotage, the deep, festering bitterness that drove her actions across 2 lifetimes. She rocks back and forth, lost in her unraveling. Just then, the apartment buzzer rings. It's Elise. I let her in. She takes one look at our weeping mother, at the documents scattered on the table, at my cold, impassive face, and her own composure breaks. Anya, please, Elise pleads, rushing to Mother's side but directing her words at me. Don't do this. We're sorry. We made mistakes, but we're family. Think about Mom. Think about our future. We have nothing without my goodwill, she means. Without my inheritance. The desperation radiating from both of them is palpable. The air in the room grows thick, heavy, making it hard to breathe as they wait, suspended in the silence. For my judgment, my forgiveness, my financial rescue, I look at them. My mother, the architect of my pain. My sister, her willing accomplice. Their tears, their apologies, their pleas, they mean nothing now. The damage is done, the trust irrevocably shattered, not just by their actions in this life, but by the echoes from the last. Forgiveness isn't possible because the people they are haven't fundamentally changed. Only their circumstances have. I walk towards the door, picking up my violin case, the Guarneri case, as I go. The NYMC finals are tonight. Anya, wait! Mother cries out, scrambling to her feet. Oh, what are you going to do? Please don't ruin us. I pause at the door, turning back to face them one last time. No anger flares within me, no satisfying surge of vengeful triumph. Just a vast, calm emptiness where my filial duty used to reside. No, I say simply. The word is quiet but absolute. It encompasses everything. No forgiveness, no reconciliation, no financial support, no relationship. Our relationship, whatever was left of it, ended the day you sold my violin. I don't wait for their reaction. I step out into the hallway, closing the door gently but firmly on their sobs, on their desperation, on the entire toxic chapter of my life they represent. My hands are steady as I lift the violin case. It's time to play. 1 year has passed since the NYMC finals, a night where playing my father's music on his Guarneri felt less like a competition and more like a declaration of existence. I stand on the balcony of my apartment overlooking the deep blue of the Mediterranean Sea. My international debut tour was a success, critics praising the fierce passion and profound depth of my playing. They don't know the half of it. The sea breeze is warm, carrying the scent of salt and distant shores. It feels cleansing. I lift the Guarneri my Guarneri now, legally mine, along with the rest of my father's reclaimed legacy, and begin to play. Not a fiery showpiece, but the simple, haunting lullaby from his notes. The melody recognized from my deepest memories. The music flows out over the water, a conversation between father and daughter, across the veil of time and silence. The last vestiges of bitterness have finally dissolved, carried away on the tide. Mr. Yamamoto, Kenji now, sits beside me on the terrace of a small music school we've established in a quiet coastal town nearby. He has become my mentor, my confidant, the grandfather I never knew. Our shared connection to Ren Ito, my father, has forged a bond stronger than blood. Together, we've channeled our resources and passion into creating the Ito Yamamoto Foundation, offering free, high-level music education to underprivileged children. Below us, in the practice rooms, the sounds drift up. Hesitant scales, improving etudes, the occasional burst of joyous, uninhibited melody. We watch a young girl struggle with a difficult passage, her brow furrowed in concentration, then break into a wide grin as she finally masters it. This feels right. Turning the pain I endured, the manipulation and suppression, into purpose. Giving other young talents the support and ethical guidance I was denied. The students' laughter is a sweeter music than any applause. A package arrived this morning, no return address, postmarked from my old hometown. Inside, nestled in worn velvet lining, is the Stradivarius. My first violin, the one mother sold. There's a simple, unsigned note tucked under the strings. Music deserves to be heard, sorry. James, it has to be. His attempt at redemption, perhaps? Or just easing his conscience. I lift the instrument. It feels familiar yet distant now, like looking at an old photograph of oneself. The memories attached, betrayal, heartbreak, desperation are still there, but they lack their former sting. I don't need to play it to prove anything. Its purpose in my story is complete. I carefully place the Stradivarius in an empty glass display case in my living room. Not hidden away, but acknowledged. A silent reminder of the girl I was, the trials I survived, and the conscious choice I made to build a different life, a different self, from the ashes. The setting sun casts a final golden light across its familiar curves before I turn away, closing the door softly on the past, ready for the music of tomorrow.